Uh-oh.
All right.
We're here. We're live. It's We Are Worship Wednesday on Google Hangout. For those of you who follow us and you're here, thanks for making the note that we're on Google Hangout today and not Blab. And if you know somebody that normally watches our We Are Worship Wednesdays, give them a little text, give them a shout out and say, hey, they're on Google Hangout today, not Blab. So make sure everybody knows. And thank you for being here. We have some really awesome guests today that I'm really excited about because we share some things in common, like Southern accents and probably love for sweet tea. So just to let you guys know, We Are Worship, we have a free song of the week and a free hymn of the month. And this week it is Let It Be Known by Lincoln Brewster is our free song of the week, and our free hymn of the month is The Power of the Cross by Stuart Townend.
Awesome.
Oh, and I'm Morgan, by the way, for those who don't know. Sorry, I probably should get my hands off this table.
Cool. And my name is Wisdom, and thank you for joining us today for We Are Worship Wednesday. We're going to dive into some issues, marriage issues.
Yeah.
We're really excited to chat with David and Nicole about leading worship as a couple, what that entails. I mean, you guys have been doing it for years. I remember seeing you guys at a church in San Jose, California when I was there.
Wow.
Before my wife and I even started dating, and we went to the service. Yeah.
I feel so old.
Yeah, now we have 4 kids and we've been married for 12 years. So
Wow.
Does she lead worship with you sometimes?
yeah, we
Ah,
used to lead worship together all the time.
that's so cool.
Yeah, so you guys were
Very
a huge
cool.
inspiration for us.
Aw.
So we're excited to get to talk to you guys today about just, how you guys do it. How you guys do it at your local church and also travel. So maybe start off by letting us know, like, how long you've been married, how long you've been leading worship together.
Yeah. Do you want to go? I guess I'll start.
You start, babe.
We've been married. It'll be 22 years in June.
Wow.
So, yeah, a long time. And, when we got married, David was actually my worship pastor at my church.
Oh,
So I kind of, which I was already involved in singing and leading worship here and there. But anyway, so I married the worship pastor. So then I was, automatically, in on the deal of like leading worship with him. So, yeah, we started there,
But she's a very talented vocalist, even when she was young. But so she's at, her late teens and one of our main singers because she's just excelled above the rest. And so before there was ever any romance.
sure.
Nicole was singing and with.
Yeah. And a lot of what we were doing then as well. I mean, we were leading worship, but it was also kind of the big choir thing. And, that was a big deal then in the mid 90s. And but then, we were on staff there as a married couple for a few years. Our first child was born, and then actually God just kind of, shifted the season on us, and we began traveling full time for 10 years and just an itinerant, just traveling ministry and recording and traveling. And, and with then, 2 babies, a couple years later, we had another baby. So then that's the tricky part too, when you're married and you're both involved and you have little ones and you're,
Yeah.
So, but anyway, then we traveled full time for 10 years. And then we went on staff at our church in Dallas, Covenant Church. In 2008, we went on staff there. So we've been there 8 years.
Wow.
Leading together. Yeah. And, I think we were talking in the car too, and I'm kind of like hogging this right now.
It's okay. I'll take over in a minute.
Okay.
I'll be the domineering one.
Okay. A lot of the things, because, I think a lot of people that are tuning in could think, well, I'm not, my spouse and I don't lead worship together, so this doesn't apply to me. But I think a lot of the things that are applicable to, married couples leading worship together also apply to, just worship teams and other worship leaders that you lead with, because we lead also with Josh Dufresne and, a couple other worship leaders on our team when we're at home in Dallas. So I think a lot of things, can also apply to worship leaders, you know, on a team
Of
and kind of
course.
sharing that responsibility.
For sure.
Finding the chemistry, working with someone else. I will just say, for me, it began back at the church where Nicole and I got married. We had a team. I began team worship, as you would call it, because essentially I wanted to be Andre Crouch. You know, I listened to all of his stuff, and I'd see how he would throw to all of these great singers, give them a spotlight and give them an opportunity. I realized that I couldn't sing everything. And so I needed some other people to help make it. So it's like I was so inspired by how he did that I started working with the team, and then in the process discovered the power of empowering other worship leaders and building them up and watching them grow and step into more than they thought they could be. And so for Nicole and I, it just kind of just evolved into this thing. You know how when you get married, how you can complete each other's sentences. You know, it's like you know each other so well, you start anticipating what they're going to say and help them finish it before if there's a pause, then you complete the sentence for them. There are times in worship that's what it's like. We'll be maybe just in a flow, and I'm in this creative place, and I feel like I've gone, and just this expression has come, and I feel like I get to a wall, and it just stops, and all of a sudden something I did or said sparks an inspiration in Nicole, and she just goes somewhere, and I'm like, wow. I'm like amazed that where she went inspires me, and I'm just playing behind her, and then when she gets to her wall, the next inspiration thing comes, and we're just like, in Winston, if you ever saw us lead worship together, you know, that's kind of like the ping pong back and forth. So we discovered that, and really not even knowing what it was we were doing. It's just kind of accidentally finding our rhythm doing that, and then being able to apply that after we came to Covenant Church and began to really feel this call to mentor younger worshipers and pour into them and give them a place. We applied the same principles, you know, working with our team and our band and our other worship leaders, and just giving them a place to be themselves. And you know, it's so interesting how the chemistry works and how the flow begins, and so now I'm taking over.
No. Yeah, no, I think, you know, trusting the other person, you know, to kind of take the reins is a big factor. So trusting, and then just that collaborating really. And again, that can apply to, you know, working with your other team members, and just not being afraid to just kind of let somebody take the reins and see where they're going to go with it. And, you know,
and guys, husbands can be this way. You just kind of be aloof and insensitive to where your mate might be. And in the case of leading worship in a service, you know, there have been times where Nicole was bold enough to talk to me about, we'd be in a service, and I would just kind of barrel through it all and never stop to think maybe Nicole has something to say. And so she'd be bold enough to talk to me about, you know, later maybe in the hotel room, she's saying, you know, I felt like I could have said something here, or I had something, and I just had no. And I was like, you know, it's not that I didn't want to give her that place. I'm just, you know, I'm just a guy. But you learn through good communication and talking about taking risk, and where you just kind of get to the point where, okay, we can talk about this, and I could get defensive about it, or I can say, okay, I'm going to pay better attention and make room for you, like I make room for these other people in our world. Just stop and realize you have something important in this equation as well. So.
Yeah.
Do you guys, I don't know if you can answer this honestly, but have you guys ever had like a big fight because of worship leading?
I I don't think we've had a big fight. I think we've had, just like what I said, there were times where Nicole, where I just was like, completely unaware.
We don't really have big fights in our marriage. We do have disagreements, and we disagreed about something last night about a worship team member who is transitioning into another something else. And so anyway, we had a different opinion, but we went with his because I'm a submitted wife.
And she just said the last thing she said before she went to bed, with almost a little huff. Well, I disagree. And
I would do it differently, but okay. You got to choose your battles. You know what I mean? What mountain do you want to die on? Like, I mean, that's marriage, period, is just, give and take, right? And
but it takes a really good husband.
What's it like for y'all traveling together and leading worship other places? Because you lead worship together on Sundays, and then you do stuff throughout the week. So you're kind of together all the time.
All the time.
There's not really like that separation. Like Wisdom's not with his wife right now, but he's gonna go home to her. But you guys are like always together. So
right.
How do you balance that? And I mean, is that an issue, or are y'all like, oh no, we just love each other so much, we want to be around each other all the time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, we enjoy. Clearly, you have to enjoy one another's company a whole lot to be together all the time. But I am definitely more of the introvert. And David is like, could be around people all the time, 24/7, and never, I'm the one that needs to just like I love it when I'm just home alone in the house all by myself, like, just for a couple hours or whatever. It's just like, it's a treasure to me.
Well, and on the flip side of that is I like to be with people, and sometimes just go hang out with the guys. And all the time I'm hanging with the guys, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I should be home with Nicole.
That's funny. Well, and he carries a lot more of the load, at home, at the church, as far as being at, pastors' meetings and things like that, I'm not required to attend. And, we've got 3 kids, and, travel and taking care of things at home, just make sure,
But understand that I still help.
Yes.
Do the laundry. I help iron the clothes. I
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. But yeah, I mean, it can get crazy. I mean, it's like we're here tonight. We're about 2.5 hours south of Dallas. Kicking off our Take Heart. So this is our cousin's church. So our kids came with us because they're gonna, see family and hang. So our 18-year-old right now is keeping our 7-year-old entertained, like in the other room on the iPad, so we could be here with you doing this. So it can be tricky because I mean and over all the years of traveling, when we traveled full time. We had a dear friend, actually she and I have been best friends since we were teenagers, who always helped us with the kids, because my heart was always, okay, Lord, if you have us doing this and traveling and you're using us in this capacity, you've got to, we have to have somebody for our kids. I was not going to be, I refuse to just pass them off to whoever's available, and no, I had to know that my kids were in, solid, good care. And so the Lord just always provided that, and even now to this day, it's like if there's an issue with something with the kids and we were just gone, we were out of the country, we were in Israel for 10 days, and so we came home and we were supposed to be at another worship conference for a few days. And I just, I said, David, we're going to have to get me out of it because I can't go. We've been gone from the kids for 10 days. I can't be gone another, 3 days from them. So he just went to that conference and taught, workshops and whatever.
I just taught workshops.
But I mean,
they didn't want me to sing by myself. They really like me when she's with me, but they didn't want me to sing by myself.
Oh my gosh. But that has rarely happened in all of our years of ministry, but my kids have to be have to be, first. That's our, first responsibility. So, but
did that answer the question, or did we get off?
we might
no, that was great.
kinds of rabbit trails.
That's great. One thing, Nicole, that you mentioned a couple minutes ago is submission. How does submission play into leading worship as a couple?
I think for me, my natural personality is not one to just sort of like take over or assert myself. So especially when we're at home and we're leading worship on a Sunday, like I always really try to just defer to him, because he is, we're both worship pastors at the church, but he is definitely, the leader of that department and of that team, with me by his side. But I always, honor that. And so, I think like in a worship set on a Sunday morning, say, we're doing 20 minutes of a worship set. Like if it's a song that I'm leading, then, and I feel the liberty, or I feel, just the direction of the Lord to kind of move in a certain direction, then I kind of take that liberty and do that. And he wants me to do that, but always it's like, I think in my heart, it's always sort of coming back to how does he want to end this set, or what is the direction he's going to take it. So it's, it's eye contact. It's like,
well, submission it's so connected to authority. I've very much talked about there are people that lead because they're good singers or good musicians, and they lead music, but they don't really have the authority to worship. There are people that sing worship music, and then there are people that have authority when they worship. And you must understand authority in order to do that. The centurion came to Jesus and said, I'm also just say the word, you go, he come, and he comes. So I am just say the word, I know my daughter will be healed. And Jesus marveled and said, so great faith in all of Israel. I understand as a person that I'm directing all of these people, and I'm the guy at the top that I lead with my wife. But I also understand who I serve under. I understand the pastor. I think the greatest worship leader of any house is the senior pastor. It doesn't matter how talented I am. I can never go beyond where that pastor is willing for me to go. And so I'm always wanting to make sure that I am aware of what's going on with the senior pastor, but knowing that and submitting to him, and it's just a posture of your heart. It's not a list of things you have to go check off. It's just, it's the way you position your heart. And when you do that, the authority that comes on you when you step into what you do, it's the difference of night and day. When you take charge in an atmosphere because you've been empowered by the people that oversee you, and it's like, it just happens. I don't know that we said, okay, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, but it just automatically was an after effect with the team that we have working under us. When we give them place and they understand authority. So it's like when you use the word submission, I think it's all connected to that, and deferring to one another. And so I hope that.
And I think like practically, like applying what he just said, like submitting to your pastor practically for us is like on a Sunday, we have 20 minutes for a worship set and we have a countdown clock. We're never going to go over our time. Like we are going to honor that. And then if
you'll say
and wants to keep going, then we do that. But it's like, we're going to honor, our senior pastor and sort of the parameter, or, the space. And so same regard, I think, we submit in that way.
Don't we sound smart?
Oh, we're so smart. We have it all figured out. Oh.
When it comes to the songs that you're leading on Sunday, is that kind of like a decision both of you make, or David, is that just you, or Nicole, do you have some input on that? How does that work?
Yeah, no, I definitely have input, but our team, we meet together like, once a week, and are we still doing our list a month?
Well, yeah, it's the way that works. I mean, we meet every week, but what happens is at the end of a month, we'll get together and we'll plan our whole team, all of the worship leaders.
Well, the two of us, Josh Dufresne, of course, Nathan Walker is another worship leader on our team.
And our drummer,
Daniel, he's involved with that
with
too.
Our band director. We're all on staff. And so we get together and we just bounce ideas off of each other about what songs we want to do. We know that on a given Sunday, okay, we know Easter's coming up, so we want to do this and this and this on Easter. But if it's just a regular Sunday, we try to map out what's going to happen that month. And we know there's a Sunday that Nicole and I will be out because we travel out by ourselves once a month. And so, okay, Josh, let's pick songs for the Sunday that you're in charge. And make sure that you cover and you're spreading the love and everybody gets to sing something. You have Nathan sing something and you're going to sing something. And we know we want to open up with this kind of song. So you just start building the skeleton and then just adding the skin as you go.
Yeah, and there have been a lot of times. I remember one service in particular a few years back. We always have, like, the week of Thanksgiving, we have just a special, like, 1 hour service, worship service or whatever. And this is just an example. Like, I just felt, anytime I just feel a really strong impression, like, I'm just feeling in my heart, we need to sing this song. Like, it's just been on my heart. And so that year for that particular Thanksgiving service, I had this, I remember now what it was, just everything for it's like, I just sing this song, and Dave was like, well, let's do it then, and we did it, and it was just so powerful. But so I think to trust that, because again, the naturally, like, assertive person where I'm just going to add out, and this, I've learned to trust when I feel, just sort of that gut instinct, or like God has really sort of, put something on my heart. I've learned to just be obedient and share that and go, wow, I really think this is from God. And he always is.
I have learned, because she's not one to try to push her opinion on things, to, like, if she says something, she really is got something on her heart. And I'm like, and I may already have an idea, but I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to forget what I was thinking and let's do this. To be in the principle is to empower everybody and not think that I have to make all the choices. I have to select all the songs. And so sometimes I may not even think, I may not even like what someone's picking, but Josh may want to do something. And I'm like, on the inside, I'm like, I really don't like that. But I'll say, okay, man, and I let it happen. And I think the principle for me is, again, just giving someone room. And sometimes, there was a time when I let Colin, when Colin was still at the main campus with us, Colin Edge, one of our worship leaders, he had this set of songs that he had picked out.
This was probably about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, and I was like,
pretty young.
I'm not going to, I knew, I saw the handwriting on the wall. I knew this was a mistake. But I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to let it go. The list. I'm just going to let it go. And then he got into it and realized in the second song and the mistake that I saw. But it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't that he didn't perform it well and didn't do it well, but it didn't have this natural flow thing happening. And he saw it for himself and learned by making a mistake. And I think my leadership is let somebody mess up. Let them learn by messing up. And that next time, and it's like, I encouraged him. I didn't let him beat himself up for making a mistake. I encouraged him and pushed him. And Colin has turned into such a sensitive worship leader. I love to see how he can now find the pulse of a particular meeting, because we may pick something, but something changes in the service, and there's a shift. And while we always pretty much 99% of the time stick with our plan, but there are moments, sovereign moments, where you just feel the change, and we all learn how to go with the change and trust and let it happen. So,
yeah, and I think you have to be a really secure leader, you know, to allow all the, you know, other people to have input, you know, because I think someone who's insecure, you know, is not gonna. I think that's really important as a leader, to be secure enough, you know, to let everyone contribute and grow and learn, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of growing and learning, your daughter actually also leads worship with you guys, right? Gracie?
Yeah, she's just kind of starting that. Yeah.
So tell us about that. Like, how does that play into the dynamic of the worship team and you guys leading as a couple?
Yeah. Well, it's fun. So here's the cool thing is, you know, our church, from the time Gracie was little, I mean, you know, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, was involved with our children's department worship team. And so our children's pastor's wife, you know, she was in charge of that, and a great worship leader herself. And she would just let these kids, you know, organize, you know, once they got to a certain age, 11, 12 years old, they're picking the songs, you know, for their little, you know, they would lead worship for the preschool and then for the elementary age kids. And so she had been involved with that, you know, for whatever, 4 or 5 years, and really become a leader there. And then now she's also, you know, a few years now, she's been really involved with our youth worship team. Helping lead, you know, writing a lot of great songs for the youth album that we're kind of, you know, working on. And so, you know, and she's been songwriting a lot. She kind of had done some Disney type music, you know, kids pop or whatever, and had some interest, I mean, from some folks out in Los Angeles. So I'm just saying, like, she's been...
And everybody on the team saw all of that happening, saw her blossoming since really writing good music. I mean, don't choke. Since she was 9 years old. It's just like really good, beyond her years, singing and writing. So everybody just saw that. So it was just a natural evolution, and everybody's just very accepting.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, even involving her in this album, you know, I was kind of like, oh, you know, you never want people to think you're just doing this because it's your child, you know? Yeah. So I'm very sensitive to that, and never want anyone to, you know, think that any of our kids is getting certain, you know, special treatment just because of who they are.
But having said that, we've spent 8 years at Covenant now, pouring into Josh Dufresne and Colin Edge, and now Nathan Walker, and other people on the team. These guys that are 20 years younger than me.
Or 30 years younger than you.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'm 53, all right?
I'm not.
Yeah, I'm 12 years older than Nicole. But so all of these young people pouring into, and I'm like, I can't get so caught up in my passion to mentor these young guys and forget about my kids, whose giftings are amazing. And so, like, Nicole is probably even more sensitive than I am to worrying about. I don't want them to think just because she's our daughter, we're giving her a special platform. No, Gracie has earned it on her own, and her skill and her sensitivity to worship. I mean, she's fun with all the excitement, but her passion for the intimate worship moments it's so beautiful to see. And she just holds her own with everybody, and they respect her, and she's just so natural. She's just so natural.
So now, I mean, you know, she's still real involved, like with the youth team as well. We don't want to take her away from that, because, you know, so she's real involved there. And then we're bringing her in, you know, a Sunday or two a month into the main sanctuary, and you know, helping us lead. She led with Josh a couple weeks ago on a Sunday when
while we were out, and while we were in Israel. Gracie's leading at home with Josh and Nathan, awesome. And we got to watch it online from right in our bus in Jerusalem, and with the time change, we got to see one of the services and see Gracie sing, and so we were proud and watch the chemistry happen at home even when you're not there. In fact, I think they all do better when we're gone than they do when we're home with them.
So
Yeah,
you'll
but
be taking the rest of the year off then?
Exactly. We're just gonna let them grow and develop. And no, but it's really cool. I mean, both of us started, singing and writing really young. I mean, David was, writing professionally at 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And, I, from the time I was, a child, was always singing in church. So, so I think it just seems very natural for us to kind of let her, and about a year ago or year and a half or so ago, when we went to Lakewood, the Covenant worship team, well, the two of us and Josh
went to lead
worship at Lakewood
Sunday.
and promote the Kingdom album. And our friend, Israel Houghton said, bring Gracie, he was very aware of her gift, and he really kind of, opened that door. And I know he believes in the next generation. And so that was just an incredible opportunity for her. And she was just a little pro up there. I mean, I was like, aren't you nervous? Like, or afterwards when we got done, I didn't say it before, but I was like, Gracie, I said, were you a little nervous? She's like, no. I'm like, you should have been nervous. But no, she loves it. So it's cool. It's very rewarding as parents.
Yeah. And you guys recently released an album, a live worship album from Covenant Worship called Take Heart.
Yes.
You guys were both really involved with that. And I think your daughter was as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
So was that a fun process to, do as a family? Like, what was that like?
It was so easy. Gracie, it's like she's going to be singing with us tonight. It's like maybe 2 or 3 years ago when we did our first album with Integrity Standing, we took Gracie on a trip with us, not necessarily to sing with us, but we just brought her up to do this one song, and she ended up staying on the stage the whole time. And it's like if Nicole was singing a high soprano part, Gracie, without me even showing her, would instinctively go to the alto part, that middle place that needed to happen. Or if there's a song that has more of an alto lead that Nicole was carrying, Gracie instinctively jumped up to the soprano part, and she was just like, wow. When she's 13, just so aware of what needs to happen vocally without any training to speak of. And so coming in to do these, she does all the background vocals on the Take Heart album. So if you didn't know it, you wouldn't, there's a particular song, Beautiful, that it sounds like Nicole went in and did her own background vocal, but it's Gracie singing it with her. Yeah. And Gracie solos on one of the songs, Motivation, with Nathan Walker. So she's very involved in it. And it was just like, it was kind of like, we didn't even.
It was kind of fun because we have our little music room at home. So we were like, I felt it, for the first time, sort of having these little mini, like, okay, Gracie, come in here. We're going to rehearse and make sure, like, I'm the one, like, you have to make sure you know your part. And so, we rehearsed at home. That was fun. And she just loved every second of it. We pulled in some of our other youth team as well, because we really wanted this album to be, an expression of not just, just also what God was doing in the younger generation in our church. And so we pulled, a few of our other youth team leaders to kind of sing BGVs on the album live, and just kind of wanted that energy.
It's very intentional with connecting, building a bridge, even when we see the older kind of number of times that I'll just kind of go to a verse of one hymn, and you see their countenance change. You're like, and then all of a sudden they love everything you do because you built a bridge to them. Well, so we're doing the same thing with the teens, and we're just like I love it. I think all the church thinks I'm their best friend, and
they all call him Dad.
They all call me Dad, and they all, it's just like love to come to hang at our house, and
they come over and eat all of our food. And
but I just, I like building the bridge this way and this way, and just making this interesting puzzle.
That's awesome. Well, the album is really amazing. There's some really powerful songs and songs that churches can use, right away. A couple of weeks ago, we had, Dufresne and D'Lo on with
Yeah.
us on the Wednesday, and they did a great job. And we actually got a message from, I guess, somebody that watched us and said, we actually, found out about Take Heart, the album, from that broadcast. And
Very cool.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah,
Very
they,
cool.
Awesome.
they were so excited, and they said they loved the album. So yeah, you guys are making an impact in the kingdom, and I love just how you guys integrate families and generations, into the whole process. So
Thank you. I was thinking about, the whole multi-generational thing in our team. It's like, David's 50, I'm in my 40, Josh is, approaching 30. And then we pulled in, the young, the teenage, Gracie's 15. So I was like, wow. I mean, that's like, I guess, that's not 4 generations, but 4 decades represented. So, anyway, kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us today, and
We
even though you have
loved it.
kids with you and you're traveling, I know what that's like. So
Where there's a will, there's a way. You just figure it out.
Yeah. So, guys, if you are watching or listening to this later, you can download the chord chart bundle for all the songs from the album on our website, weareworship.com. So be sure to take advantage of that. And there's some really great songs on there, like I said. So thank you for all you do for the kingdom of God and for pouring into the next generation.
Guys, it's a joy to see you and chat
Absolutely.
with you.
We
and,
enjoyed it.
So we'll come to Nashville soon and go have some
Sweet tea.
Yeah.
some fried chicken and sweet tea at a meet and greet, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be on Mondays with Morgan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
Yeah,
guys
that'd
seen
be
those.
fun.
It'll be
That'd
so
be
much
wonderful.
fun.
Yeah.
We love it.
Great. Thank you guys. We'll let you
Awesome.
get back to it.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
thanks.
bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.